Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another installment of Ranwin Parked. This is episode. What is it, Kurt? Which episode do you think it is?
48.
34. It is
34.
episode 34 of Ranwin Parked. This time around, it is just myself and Kurt. ZK has some family obligations that he is currently taking care of. So, just the two of us here on Ranwin Parked. However, we do have a guest this week. There will be a guest spot at the end of the show. I made myself incredibly nervous and have probably put myself to shame because I brought a real automotive journalist into here, which is
Whoa.
yeah.
Let's not have delusions of grandeur now.
that it did not really even hit me until like I sat down to actually do the interview, and I was like, oh wait, this person's probably expecting a professional on the other end of this line.
I don't know. He's been following for a while. He might.
I think he understood. I think he knows us well enough, and that's going to be Ant or Anthony Ingram, who we've known. I don't even know for how long he's kind of been around, at least your community, and then as I did, I kind of I like stole some of your community. Like, hey,
Vampired away.
You guys like cars? But yeah, certainly we've gotten to know Ant quite a bit over the years, and I was very interested to see what his take on our show here was. So, look forward to that.
I did make my choices for today's show. I tried to find all European cars.
Oh.
So he in the comments will have to let us know all the poor decisions and incorrect information we've diverged.
as if we didn't constantly show that we know nothing. Today will be a little extra. All right, well, without further ado, shall we Ranwin Parked?
Adieu is French.
Now, European, I'm staying on theme here.
Mm-hmm.
My ad isn't really on theme with that, but it's very much so on theme with the show.
Dog.
Bingo. Yeah, if you had dog on your bingo square. This is a 1978 280Z with safety bumpers for only $1,500, and it's on the East Coast, which is bizarrely rare. Restore or parts car, drivetrain good, engine, transmission, rear end, large dent in the driver door, and there was actually no more description. They just ended it at and. However, this was a mighty tempting thing to me because it was kind of nearby, and as you can tell, there's actually some body left on this car, which is highly unusual.
True.
However, they did not respond to their ad. Luckily for me.
He actually followed through.
And this doesn't happen over here. Like, these kinds of cars, very, very hard to find. I'm not going to say it's perfect. Neither is the ad with pictures like this. Good looking seat, I guess.
Yes.
I love this take on, like, engine and drivetrain is good. How do you know? Like, this thing hasn't been running so long that the spider webs are connecting it to the chassis. I really hope that these people aren't just like, man, I remember that car from my childhood. It ran great then. It must run good now. But this is it's a fuel-injected car. It looks like it's pretty much stock. This looks kind of what I would expect them to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And it does have another classic Z and a classic Ranwin Park thing with the finger.
Oh, that's like I can see the thumbnail too.
Thumbnail. Yeah, the floors are a little rotty, but like honestly, at this point, anything that's old Japanese, I'm pretty much at the point of like, well, I guess I'm putting floors in it, and that is what it is. But yeah, for $1,500, this is a Ranwin Parked that I also would have made a mistake on because pretty good buy, and I bet you for a few grand you could probably get this thing to be a showable car and a nice driver, and that's the kind of Z that I want.
Yeah.
I don't want
There have
something
been
that's very expensive.
there have been a few of these
Yeah, you've been
lately.
kind of tempted by them lately.
Yeah, there was the one that got away that made the last show or the show previous, I can't
Yeah.
remember. There was another one that was honestly like it could have been in this condition. Maybe it
Right.
was actually running and driving though. Um, for they're all 280Zs, obviously.
Yeah.
You can't find a 240
And I'm kind
worth
of the opinion of I'd rather have a 280 because even though it's not as authentic, it's not the original.
the original.
Right. It's also a better car generally. Like the 280
Yeah.
it's more modern. Sure, it has the weird bumpers, but it has, you know, typically a 5-speed instead of a 4-speed. It's got fuel injection that's kind of dubious. Not everybody loves the fuel injection on them, but I'm a little bit more familiar and comfortable with that stuff. I don't know. And because they're less desirable, I would rather have one. Yeah, that's. I'm hoping it's a trend. I'm hoping the
Yeah.
phase of Z's just constantly inflating value is kind of coming to an end, and that might be because the 80s stuff is starting to catch real big now. Like Radwood and things
Mm.
like that are starting to make the 80s and early 90s stuff more desirable, and maybe the generation that really loved the Z is starting to age to a point where, you know, they're not really fixing up cars anymore. Who knows? But my market analysis is buy a Z.
Yeah. And then sell it back to us for cheaper than you bought it.
Please.
It's the only way.
What have you found in the world of Oranwin Parked?
I have found a 1961 Singer Gazelle convertible.
Sure you have.
I have, I guess I have
Isn't that
anyway,
a
for
sewing machine?
$2,200.
I'm pretty sure that's a sewing machine.
That is the Sewing Machine Company. Singer Gazelle, all original. Hasn't ran in over 6 years. Very little rust.
I like that. Over 6 years. They're not lying.
Yeah, it could be 6 years. It could be 36 years. Yeah, Singer is the same company that made the sewing machines.
Really?
Yes,
Huh.
and they were British manufacturer.
That's
Yeah, I
all we
guess
know.
this was their this is all we know. Based on the Wikipedia, basically their mid-range model. What year was this again? The
61.
61.
95% complete. Does that mean that like
Yeah, I don't
5%
know
of
what
this
that
car
means.
is the like convertible top? And we're also missing a headlight shroud. So I guess oh, and a tail light. I don't know. These
Mm,
percentages are adding up pretty quick.
this is true.
It's it's kind of plain.
Pretty plain. Kind of, yeah, like,
Yeah,
but pretty like British in that regard. I guess
true.
it seems like a fancier looking sign, kind of like Mini or
Yeah.
something like that. The 1600cc engine produced a whopping 53 horsepower.
Oh, watch out. Front wheel drive?
Rear wheel drive. It's got to be rear wheel drive.
I don't know. It depends on like if they were park sharing. Like, is it a mini front end? Is it an MG drivetrain? Who knows?
Right.
That's and they brought them here, huh? Like because it's left hand drive.
Right, I guess. I guess they must have been brought here. Um,
Wow.
yeah, I got nothing.
I got nothing either.
Take it away, Ant.
Right.
So yeah, this is something I've never seen before.
That's getting harder
And
to do these days, but you've
true.
done it. You have done it.
Hmm.
The grill doesn't. Everything about the front end of this car is if somebody had designed a car in 1961 to mimic what would happen in 2020. Because
Right.
everything on the front end is fake. Like, this grill is over top of what is just a hole in the body. Like, this isn't even integrated into the body. These are fake.
That looks like that might be part of the 5% because all of these pictures I'm seeing of like the restored and like original ones have just like a vertical grill, chrome
Ah, I
grill.
see.
So whatever that chicken wire is in there is
Added.
not original.
Yeah, these are just like chrome accent pieces that don't really do anything.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's I hate to say it, but it just it feels very utility. Like it feels very appliancey.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to hear from people that know something about these to tell us how wrong I am. I love
Well, they
nothing
were
more.
originally a bicycle manufacturer before then also making
So
apparently vehicles and then sewing machines.
bicycles, vehicles, sewing machines. You don't see that much anymore. You don't see a lot of bicycle, automotive, sewing machine companies. Not so much. Well, yeah, that's one that I look forward to being clued in. Well spotted, I would say. Well spotted.
Hmm.
Was there a dollar on that?
2200?
They must not be anything terribly desirable then.
No.
Huh.
No.
So strange. So strange. You get the weirdest stuff up there. I don't know. And like that one doesn't even make any sense. Like I get the Japanese stuff over there because like quote unquote you're closer and like stuff
Right,
got
yeah, this is
imported from over
the
there.
port of import, yeah.
But British? Like you couldn't be any further now.
Mhm.
Super strange. And strange things. My mistake this week, Kurt. I
Oh.
I don't know if you're prepared for this one.
Uh-oh.
It's very weird. It's very weird, especially for me. It's a white page. Look at
Ooh,
it, Kurt.
nothing.
Nothingness. Windows? Windows, you want to show me the image?
Spooky, spooky ghost.
Yep. Windows is a great
Fantastic
operating software. Here
application.
we go.
Ooh.
1979 Toyota Corolla. In a very attractive color, I might say. I don't know if you would agree. It's kind of I don't know, it feels like one of those colors that would be extremely hit or miss because it's almost like a metallic cream soda.
Yeah, yeah, it's like almost brown, but not brown enough.
It's
And
almost gold, but it's a little too like orange to be
right.
gold. It's a confusing color, but I like it. I do like it on this car, and it's a very beautifully like restored looking car. This whole
Mm-hmm.
skinnies on the front, fatties on the rear thing on Corollas, that is a loud motorcycle. I do not understand like why that's so common on these. Did you notice that as well over there, right?
Yeah, I don't know because that's to emphasize that it's rear wheel drive. Ooh,
Okay.
I don't know.
The weird thing of this one, of course, you've probably seen by now, and if you're watching, it's a full electric car. This car has been converted to electric power. So its current rated power is 120 horsepower and 173 foot-pounds of torque,
Mm,
which is better than stock by a good bit.
true.
And this car is actually like a lot of these that we see are just very bad, like very very backyard and look like a fire hazard. But this thing is super well done, but not like it's not like it's a super, modern. It's not a Tesla, right? It's still old school technology. But I mean, if you look back here, this is the battery bank. It's all secured. It's all new looking. Nothing back here just goes instantly in my mind of like, well, that's a fire.
Those are all mismatched batteries, and
Right. This is the engine compartment and this stuff. I
oh
mean,
my.
it is very much so a setup that is custom made, but it again looks very cleanly done.
Hmm.
The car itself is in very nice condition. Look at that interior.
That is a very nice interior and an uncracked dash, or at least dash cap.
Cap. Uh, no center console though.
I'm, well, no, it does have the handbrake cover. See
Oh,
that
it
even that
does.
I would be
Yeah.
happy with.
It's not very far, Kurt. You want me to go steal it? Go for a
Yeah.
test drive?
Yoink.
um, Interestingly, it's the electric motor is bolted to the transmission, so it still operates as a manual transmission if you wanted to. Which I'm very,
Interesting.
very curious how that would operate. The dash is a little tacky,
Mm,
but at least it's like cleanly done. But I'm not a big fan of.
right, yeah.
It doesn't look right in the car. But other than that, it's very well done, and I think it would make an amazing car to rip all of that electric stuff out of there and put a real engine back in it.
True, very true.
Just
And it
because
has,
it's super nice.
yeah, it is very, very nice. That front grill,
Yeah.
I got I got one of those grills, but even this guy, nobody has that center emblem. He has the plastic for it,
Oh, I
but there's
see.
supposed to be like a little blue Corolla
Right.
crown in
Crown
there,
thing.
and
Hmm.
that's why I see them on eBay, but they're asking for like $150 for these little plastic
Oh boy.
4-inch long center emblems, and I'm like, nope,
No, thank you.
I'll just go without, thank you.
Hmm.
But they do have the stainless trim around
This.
the windshield.
Oh.
No, the
Oh yeah, yeah,
windshield.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Does yours have this hood piece too? Like,
No,
no.
that's the 79 design,
Oh, I see. I see.
because then that kind of goes with that grill there.
Right. Huh. It's weird how many different front ends these Corollas had.
Yeah,
Like
I know,
they
and
didn't
hood designs.
they
Yeah.
didn't last very long. Like they did so many changes year to year, and then the rest of the car is pretty much the same. Like they didn't really
Hmm.
do much advancing with the car. They were just like, all right, we gotta switch this up. Let's change the whole front end sheet metal. Before you had your Corolla, I never had any interest in Corollas, but now I find myself finding them. They're simply attractive. Like it's a very nice basic design. It's automobile.
Automobile?
Automobile. And I never see them over here. And to see one over here in this nice a shape, even if it is electric boogie woogie woogie, still pretty cool. And yeah, it is very nicely done. I
Mhm.
applaud them for even the electric conversion is super nice.
Yeah.
Good work, somebody.
Well done.
Let's see this. Oh, Kurt, I can tell already this is not going to be super well done.
No. This was originally, I think I was going to use this for a mild, but I'm like, I would make this mistake. The problem with this is that it's some car auction, so who knows what they're actually wanting from
Oh
it.
yeah.
Um, but this is a 19, well, it's listed as a 1974, but apparently it's a 1976 Lotus Elite, or is it supposed to be Elise?
Elise is later. It's an elite.
Oh, okay. Um, but yeah, this is the weird extended hatchback shooting brake Lotus. Um, and it's just a very weird, neat car. This one is not looking too hot
Well,
as far as its condition is
yeah.
concerned.
Yeah.
And it says in the ad, very few survived, and it's like, oh, this one barely did. It
You're right.
looks like if it did at all.
Rare model of the James Bond era.
You could turn it into a submarine.
Lucky collector car auction. You want
Yeah,
to be a lucky collector.
I don't. It's really annoying because they put all like below the scroll here. They put all like every car
Yeah.
in their tags, so it all these car auction cars always come up in all of my searches.
I report every one of those ads too.
Oh, well, yeah, I don't have the time.
That I mean, it reminds me of the. Well, I don't know my Lotus names well enough, but there's another. There's like a. It almost looks kind of like a TR7 with that weird notchback thing
Oh, right, yeah.
of this era as well. Boy, they are just super weird though.
Hmm.
Oh, that I was trying to figure out what was going on with the front bumper, and there's like 3/4 of it missing.
Right,
'Cause
yeah,
it's all
whatever it's
foam.
made out of.
The whole
Yeah.
thing is foam. So I
1-inch
mean,
foam.
you're like 3 cans of great stuff away from having a front bumper again. Oh, that gets weirder when you keep looking at
Yeah, it
it.
does.
It
Hmm.
like it like bumps up again on the back.
Yeah, it's got like a little, almost like integrated looking spoiler swoop in the back.
It's so weird that this design just never really caught on, isn't it?
Yeah, that and the
Everybody tried it.
Volvo. Yeah.
Everybody tried this like shooting brake-ish design, and very, very few made it look right. Ew.
Yeah. Ew.
Ew.
It looks like it's got some life going on the inside.
Ew, it gets
Yeah.
ewier. It's actually a nicer. I mean, if you look beyond the mold, it's a
Hmm.
nicer looking interior than I'm used to seeing in Lotai.
Hmm.
Like the design of it is actually pretty cool.
The dash mounted rear view mirror is questionable in a car that has a hatchback.
Don't worry about it. They couldn't get the glue to stick to the windshield.
Yeah.
Look at those back seats.
I know, they're like you're reclined.
You don't need, if you got a family, you don't need car seats. They're built in. Yeah, that is a nice collection of water.
Hmm.
Ooh.
Yeah, just like the padding around the
Ugh.
pillar there is all, and whatever is billowing down in the ceiling.
Lot of work in fixing this thing up. A
Yes.
lot of custom work. Like
Hmm.
everything's gonna have to be handmade.
The most generic handles on the doors you could find.
Right. Yeah, it's that weird mix of super custom stuff and then parts bin stuff.
Yeah.
I like the wheels.
The wheels are neat.
Wheels are neat. You know it's a bad sign when you have to start looking for things you like. Like, but I like.
The wheels are a neat design.
It's almost not bad from this angle, but I also feel like if you put headlights here, you could really mess with somebody's brain.
Very true.
Hmm. Hmm. Elite.
Hmm.
Elite.
It's elite.
If they say so. Yeah, I've never seen this particular Lotus before.
I'm sure I've seen, I think I've seen one like super nice on Bring a Trailer or something, but never this quality.
I guess I'm confused as to exactly what market these were even for. Like, is it sports car? Is it luxury car? Is it like a cruiser GT car? I have no idea what they were trying to accomplish.
Ooh,
Other
it's a
than
fiberglass body too.
it is a fiberglass body. I could tell
Yeah.
by
So
the.
that'd be
Oh
a real
yeah.
problem.
Oh yeah. I mean, they don't. The outside of it doesn't rust, which is nice, but
Right, right.
but yeah, fiberglass certainly has its own set of challenges. Huh. Things that make you go, huh.
Hmm.
That's a mistake that could put you in debt for rest of your life.
Very true.
But somebody that's into restoring those kinds of things will probably pick this up and then sell it for six figures because it's something super amazing that we just don't realize. Or maybe not. We just don't know. I like this theme, Kurt. I like this theme of picking cars for the guest who's not here right now to fill in the blank later. This is basically a quiz.
Yes, it really just no, weight off my shoulders.
All right. Let's make things mild. My mild is a touch wild,
It's
but
it
it's
is.
also like not interesting to me. These
Hmm.
are extremely interesting cars to many people, but never really found its way into my heart. It is a 1990 Nissan Pulsar GTI-R that this owner has dubbed the SR Zilla, which rolls right off the tongue and is
Yes.
a great name. um, my understanding is the Pulsar GTIRs, it's SR powered like a S13, but front wheel drive based. So it's transaxle, but it's all wheel drive. I think they were kind of like homologation rally car type of deal, which I mean that hood scoop pretty much gave it away. which I think, yeah, that the hood
Hood
scoop,
scoops, hood vents.
yeah, all of that is all like factory. The big wing on the back is not. The fender flares are not. The front mount intercooler cut into the bumper is not. The thing that's mildly interesting for me with cars like this is the idea of hunting down these kind of rare homologation cars and importing them over here and then kind of changing them up into something completely different. Just I don't think I understand the logic, because if you wanted to do that with a car, why not start with something that already exists here? Like, if you're gonna make something that is completely unique, why not start with something that's already here and available instead of just buying this? And it probably would have been just as unique if it was original.
Right.
But now I almost feel like it's less unique now. Now it almost blends in more just into, oh, it's one of those tuner cars.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, his wheel comes off.
Yay. Many, many photos of it, like at car shows and car meets, and this wing, though.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, I just now noticed the like red plexiglass on the sides. I don't know why my brain was blocking those out before.
I think that's a pain response, Kurt. I think your brain was shielding
Hmm.
you.
You think? Yeah, yeah.
It's mildly interesting that this is here in this form to me. But really, the most mildly interesting thing is this car has a built-in umbrella holder.
On
Well,
purpose?
on purpose.
Or
This is a factory option. Like, hold on,
Hmm.
that's legit.
Oh.
Yeah, like that's. I've bamboozled you. This was actually the mildly interesting thing on this whole car. Get Doug Tamiro on the case. This is high tier quirks and features on a Pulsar, like on a homologation rally car special. You've also got a built-in umbrella.
Just like a Rolls Royce.
Rolls, yeah. Very,
It's a
very weird.
chauffeur's car, didn't you know?
Very, very strange. SR, you're going the wrong way. This car is like absurd amounts of money too. 16,500.
$16,000.
And it is absolutely absurd. No, thank you. I'll go drill a hole in my car and put an umbrella in it. All right, I'll be honest. The umbrella was that was the only shtick of this one. So we've seen it. We laughed. We moved on. Mild us.
I will mildly interest you with a 1958 Renault 4CV.
Nope, Kurt. I'm more than mild.
Oh man. I should have switched around the Lotus and
Right.
A charming 50s micro car was the French response to the Volkswagen Beetle. It is a 750cc water cooled though rear engine, 3-speed.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. The front doors are suicide doors.
They are.
Why?
I don't know why. I don't know the purpose of that. Well, I don't know if that'd be easier to get in and out of or not. Maybe because of that big kind of fender flare. It'd be
Maybe.
weird to make a door that opens that way.
Lots of information.
Lots of information. This
Lots of
one
information.
in particular looks in good shape.
Certainly does. Not many pictures of what is a particularly rare car.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
Very interesting windshield wipers.
Oh yeah. Is that a horn on the front? Like, what are we looking at on the front here?
I imagine that's a horn.
Meep meep. I like this. Like the what I assume is radiator intakes on the fender.
Yeah,
That's
it was water cooled, so yeah.
pretty cool. The back doors open regular and the front doors open suicide. That what? What happens when you open both of them? What a weird nugget.
What a strange nugget.
Thank you for showing us that the lights work and that you have to move it around on dollies most of the time. In this picture, does it not look like center driven? Like the steering wheel is in the center.
Oh, right. Okay. I was like center driven.
What are we looking at here?
The frunk.
Oh, that's the frunk. Okay. I was hoping that
With
was an
like
engine bay.
no.
Look at this
Look at
tiny little
that. You
shifter.
break it.
Oh my god.
Oh God. I bent it again.
It does have a kink in it. Like,
And the little tiny brake and clutch pedals, just
oh
little
yeah.
hockey pucks.
That's just adorable. Very plush, though. Very plush
Hmm.
seating. Oh, no more pictures. I want to see the doors
I
open.
know they were.
That's how they get you in to look at it. They're like, don't
Yeah.
show it with the doors open. We need them to come look at it to see the
Yes.
doors open. Once they see these doors open, they will give us all of their
Sold.
money. That is a more than mild nugget 4CV. So not a 2CV, 4CV.
Mm-hmm.
But why? A mini competitor. Or no, a Beetle competitor. A Beetle competitor?
Well, I think probably because rear engine.
I guess. But it's pretty chunky. Although we say that, but we're not seeing it
Yeah,
next to anything, so it could be like
very small.
that could be a 6 foot tall door over there for all we know.
True. Yeah, this could be hip height.
And then yeah, there is one of those real super generic looking Subarus behind it that even though it's in the background, it looks quite large.
Mm.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Again, fill in the blank, tell us all about it, Ant, and we look forward to reading what you have to say. Hey, the windshield wipers aren't on in this picture. I guess they've been working on it.
Mm.
It could be one of those cars that somebody got purely to restore. Like the only fun that they had with it was restoring it, and then
Right.
after
Yeah.
that,
And they're
it's
like,
like,
well, I'm done.
what are we gonna do with this thing? You can't drive this thing.
Oh, that's the one. The one you've probably seen most often is the beach wagon that has the wicker seats.
This is the same car?
Apparently,
Really? Huh.
that would be a 4CV beach wagon. I'm just looking at like all the different variants on Wikipedia.
I'm looking at this light on the back and trying to figure out what's going on here. It's like looks like a nautical light.
Nautical light. Could just be a turn signal. You could see it from the front too, kind of.
Yeah, from the front, from the side. So advanced. So advanced. What a nugget.
Hmm.
I'm enjoying this, Kurt. You've enthralled me with this theme.
My theme that I didn't share beforehand.
Hey, that's the best way to do it, I've always thought. All right, it is time to move on to the best ad of the week, and that means that we have to review last week's winners. Last week we had Kurt's green tea Volkswagen. Isn't it green tea?
Mhm.
Isn't that their green tea? Or is it, yeah,
Arizona. Yeah, green tea, I guess, is their
the
popular one.
yeah the flowery wallpaper truck. ZK had the Stallion.
Yes, the Mustang
Mustang
trike thing.
three-wheeled trike that somehow had a four-cylinder engine between your legs. And I had my very pointy nose lad. I think we did about as good as we've ever done on finding three completely different things to vote for. And the winner is me.
Oh, by a
100
narrow margin.
102 votes over ZK with 94 votes. Kurt, apparently people want sweet tea. They don't want green tea.
I see.
Yeah. You got to work on that.
I would agree with them.
Green tea is weird. 224 votes overall, even though YouTube tried to delete the poll because ZK posted it and they considered him a spammer. So thank you everybody for
So
voting.
that's why he's banned from the show and he's
Yep.
not here this week.
Yep, that's it. So this time around, it's going to be, I think, the first time that I can remember that it's just two of us in the best of. I can't.
Head to head.
Yeah, I don't know that this has happened before. I'm nervous. I don't have somebody to lean on to steal votes.
No
And
third-party candidate.
right. Uh, too real. The the choice for me this week was obvious. It is a 2005 Mazda RX-8. Somehow turned into something that is probably less reliable than a 2005 Mazda RX-8. It is a 1981 Datsun framed 411 Dodge rear-ended Ford 302 V8 powered RX-8 off-road truck ish thing. Off-road only, could maybe street legal title in hand.
El Eagle.
El Eagle runs, drives, but barely
But barely
stops.
stops. Oh, that's why they got the 2x4 holding it.
Right. It needs a brake. It doesn't need brake work, it just needs a brake. Yeah. There you go. Excellent job on finding the wheelbase for it. Not that it matters when the wheels don't even come near the body.
True.
And I guess this is what you do when your RX-8 blows up.
Yeah. I was about to say why, but I guess that's why.
Yeah, like I have to admit I recently went on an RX-8 expedition because I kind of considered the idea of getting one because I thought surely they must be cheap by now. Turns out they are cheap, but only ones with blown up engines are cheap. For some reason, the ones that are still running but waiting to blow up, they still want like over $6,000 for them, which is very weird. It's like, I don't know. I guess it's, you could buy a grenade that's already exploded pretty cheap, but to buy a live grenade is more expensive.
That is quite the analogy.
That's my opinion of the RX-8. Yeah, this is some good old Southern ingenuity right here. Is pretty good. Please.
This picture is very concerning. I don't know what's holding the front end on beyond that one. I don't even know what that is. Torsion bar or something.
Yeah, everything about like just imagine how the body is attached too. Like
Right.
they just like set the body down on there, grabbed a stick welder and went to town.
Got a package of zip ties and they were set.
Real special. Real special.
What is that in the keys? It looks like a binder clip holder.
It does.
Or it's just they bypass the ignition.
Yeah, something like that. Oh boy. Oh boy. Well, please don't pay $6,000 for that if you're out there and you were tempted. Please do not. And Kurt's competitor.
I'm really glad you chose that, Cone.
That's amazing.
It's very amazing. I went away from my European theme.
No, this is perfectly European themed.
Oh, okay. I found a 1967 Ford Galaxy 500, a pretty cool car. But this one is now a mud bogger. A mud bogger.
Now, is that really a 390?
I don't know.
I'm going to have to go measure.
390 with Edelbrock intake and a C6 trans. It's on the stock frame with a custom subframe. Dana 70 rear, 60 front with 588 gears. I don't know what any of these numbers mean.
Those are rock crawling gears there.
Flipped deuce and a half wheels. What? Chevy 56-inch springs up front.
All right, Ant, you're off the hook on this one. I need to know what man-sized 205 divorced transfer case means. That
man size.
That I need explanation of. It's really not bad looking. Like,
true.
It's the front gets a little weird, but
right, it's got like double bumpers, and
it doesn't look as unsettling as the bodies that are just dropped on another vehicle's frame.
Right, like on a truck frame.
Right. It looks more integrated than that. It still doesn't look right. I'm still not happy somebody's done this.
Right.
Mud bogger. Is mud bogging really a thing you do out there very much?
I don't know. Perhaps out east. Uh, there's just to let you know how big the wheels are.
Thanks. That is a shame because that looked like it was a really nice car.
Yeah, it did, and that is a shame. A
Interior,
damn shame.
interior's really
Yeah, the
nice.
interior is very nice.
It's got quote unquote a 390 with, you know, everything about this looks like a car that was primed to be restored and used. Sure, it's a sedan. Not everybody likes sedans, but I think of the sedans of the era, the Galaxy is one of the nicer looking ones.
Hmm.
It looks very natural as a sedan. That's well, that's just a dang old shame.
Yeah, it is.
But if you ever wanted to go mud bogging, you didn't want to be in a generic Ford pick 'em up truck, we got the thing for you. Those don't even look like
Yeah.
mud bogging tires, do they? They just,
No, they look like tractor tires or
yeah.
something.
I don't know nearly enough about that kind of thing. These wheels, I've just realized, are unsettling.
The wheels.
These are the lug holes on these wheels,
Ah,
Kurt.
ah.
They've drilled them on the very inside of the hub to match the right lug pattern, and that looks ready to go. Also, probably needs some brake work.
Yeah. Just like that RX-8.
Yeah. Oh, there's multiple.
Mm-hmm. Well, they don't want it rolling backwards into their house.
Right. Right.
I
Oh, that scares me. not
didn't
that you
even notice
not that
that.
you would ever drive this thing over 20 miles an hour, but still. So we got
That's pretty funny.
your choice is Mudbogger RX-8 or Mudbogger Ford Galaxy. I gotta say the Galaxy's done better. Like this seems
Ish. Once we, upon further inspection of the wheels.
it's still done better. Like it looks like you could make this into the thing. I don't know if you could undo it very easily as much as I would want to, but the RX-8 just looks like pure death trap.
Mhm.
So the choice is yours.
The choice is yours. You must make a choice.
And I like that they're both like the same price too. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Synergy.
All right, everybody, make sure you get your vote in, and make sure you yell at me if I hadn't posted the straw poll in the comments. I know you all like to yell at me either way. It is time to get to our guest segment of the show for the week. I didn't have time to prepare it so that Kurt could watch it along and kind of react to it. So he's gonna react to it with all of you, right?
Yeah. Ooh, this is my reacting face. Ah,
Ah, ooh,
I didn't know
ah.
that. What a professional journalist.
Kurt reacts. So that is it for our portion of the show. We will now go to the guest segment. But I will see you next time on Random Parked, Kurt, and hopefully we can get
Mhm.
ZK back here to, I don't know, rein in this weird synergy that we have going on here. I'm not comfortable with that.
Too weird.
Too weird. It's too weird. Okay, everybody, this week we have ourselves another guest ad spotter, as I have declared them to be, on the show. And this week I've decided to make us look like fools by bringing an actual automotive journalist here. Anthony Ingram, welcome. Thank you for joining.
Hello, thank you for inviting me. And I would say recently unemployed automotive journalist, so I might not be quite as smart as you're making me sound.
Well, I mean, I was just trying to, I didn't want to like shoot for the stars here. I wanted to make sure that you didn't like completely demolish us with knowledge and insight and probably far greater taste than we have in our cars. But you you reside from another part of the world that we don't typically see ads from.
Yeah, well, I tried to pick something fairly esoteric, as far as the cars go. But there's a couple of, I mean, a bit like Kaz last week, we have the similar issue that the phrase "ran when parked" isn't really something we say over here. So I was searching through all our kind of unique terms, which might find the kind of absolute trash which you guys manage to find on a weekly basis.
Two things. Esoteric? Come on, you gotta lower your standards here. You're gonna demolish me. And yeah, that is interesting that ran when parked seems to be such an American thing. I did not expect that that would be the case. And also, where in the world, in Carmen, San Diego, are you? For those that might not know.
I'm in the UK. I'm in the UK, so yeah, we have a unique car market where everything's really really cheap. It seems. I mean, certainly compared to the States, it's possible to find some really interesting stuff for not a lot of money because I don't know, our fuel costs and insurance costs and tax and stuff are so high that used stuff is instantly worthless.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I had considered that the actual vehicles themselves are the cheaper part. So if the vehicles were expensive, nobody would buy anything new ever, right? It would just be you would just be forever stuck with what you had.
Yeah, and of course there's the dreaded MOT, which kind of is reasonably strict kind of inspection. So if a car doesn't pass that, again, it just chops value from it
Right.
pretty harshly. So
It's so bizarre over here because some states do stuff like that and then others don't, and then there's some that just do emissions, there's some that do safety, and then there's Florida that is Florida. Um, it's it's pretty bizarre talking to anybody from basically any other country because it's so much more regulated, the cars that you're driving, doing custom cars even. I don't know if it's quite like Australia in the UK where modifications are very frowned upon or not.
thankfully, it's not quite that strict. There is some kind of system, so the sort of stuff you'd see on like roadkill would never pass here. But you can do quite a lot to cars, and it's not as strict as Germany either. So
Oh, that's good. I mean,
you
it's
can you,
good,
you
but
can
it is what it is too. Like
yeah.
people in Germany, I don't think are as they don't see the same way that we do of like, oh, we have to modify our cars. What do you mean we can't modify our cars?
Yeah, you can put pretty much most parts on a car here without people being too irritated by it. And there's lots of little loopholes and stuff which people can exploit. But yeah, generally it's not too bad with modification here. But it is just it's kind of a cost thing, I suppose. As well as cars being cheaper, parts certainly seem a bit more expensive here than they are in the States. So
Well, speaking of cars, I've decided
yes.
that part of our having guests on here is we need to see the mistakes that you've already made. So, what kind of car do you drive currently?
I have a 1998 Peugeot 106 Rally, which is well, very generally it's French for a start. Um, it's a hot hatchback, which I know obviously isn't too big a thing in the States, apart from a few different models, but is absolutely massive in Europe. But my car is not absolutely massive; it's very small indeed, and that's kind of what I like about it because it's tiny and it weighs very little.
This guy's a writer. It is not a car that is particularly for sale here, but this style of car is suddenly becoming very desirable over here. I notice. Like people are starting to try to find the versions of this car that we got over here, but we have nothing like this. I don't think we have barely any Peugeot, however you want to say it, over here at all.
No, which is strange because I would have thought there'd be at least some people importing Peugeot's probably best known hot hatch wise for the 205 GTI, which is kind of mid 80s, and so obviously those have been eligible for import for ages. And the because this my 106 Rally is a second generation car which came out in about 98, 97.
Lift a
And there was a
wheel.
first gen car. Yeah, exactly. It's brilliant. It does that a lot. But yeah, the first gen Rally came out in 1994, I think. And they were homologation special, so
I
they were
always love
designed for for rallying.
Love me a homologation special. Like, there's nothing better than a car that exists only to justify a race car.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
the perfect situation.
it's got very little equipment, like manual steering, no electric windows, um, manual gearbox, obviously, just no electronics whatsoever. So it's pretty back to basics.
Is this a modern
And
version of
there's
an?
kind of, yeah, it was a test we did recently, but it was my first kind of opportunity to really hoon around on the circuit in this thing, so it was a lot of fun,
Is,
as you can probably imagine.
is there
Lots of oversteer.
is there handbrake being used here, or what's
Nope,
no?
that is
Just sliding?
purely lift off oversteer. Yeah, slightly damp track, just a bit of a lift and a bit of a tip into the corner, and it goes sideways very easily.
One of my favorite cars in dirt rally is the kit car Peugeot, and
Yeah,
for basically that reason, where if you are going into a turn, you steer by lifting off the gas, and I love that feeling.
yeah, and I mean, the tires on this thing are like 175 section or something. They're pretty narrow. Um, and so it's actually kind of really easy to play around with it a bit, and not particularly high speeds as well, which is again something I quite like because you can't do particularly high speeds in the UK. So something that's fun at low speeds is always preferable.
I suppose that is another vast difference. Is well, I mean, I guess things are a little bit more cramped there. For one, you don't have a bunch of this random open country like we do over here, or even in Germany, where you might be able to stretch your legs out to hundreds of miles an hour on occasion. It seems
Yeah,
like things over there, it's you have a lot of those like kind of country back roads versus open stretching highway.
yeah, a lot of country back roads and a lot of speed cameras in any area that you might be able to get a decent bit of pace up. So yeah, it's something that's enjoyable at like 30 miles an hour is perfect.
Right.
And the
Yeah,
MX-5 next to it, the Unos Roadster next to it was mine until last year.
I think you mean Miata.
I thought I'd go through all the names for it that weren't the American one.
That's yeah, I've had a lot of, I'll call them run-ins with the NA MX-5, and it's
Mm.
such a it's it's a car that is a little bit of everything, and I've kind of experienced them in basically every way, as far as street car, as far as autocrossing them, as far as I worked on a Spec Miata team that had an NA Miata. There's just
Mm.
something that's so simple about it that if you just kind of looked at it for what it is with zero context, there's really nothing remarkable about it. And that's almost kind of what makes it remarkable, as close as I'm going to get to a writer. But it's so interesting how many people in the automotive journalism world kind of gravitate towards them in the end.
Yeah, they're kind of like a bit of a baseline, like a kind of a reset button on anything you might be driving at the time. And the Peugeot's the same. I mean, actually, the my Miata had more equipment than the Peugeot does, and it weighs the Peugeot is about 200 pounds lighter than the MX-5 was as well. Like that's how back to basics it is. Um,
With steel
and
wheels and
I
all.
Yeah, and I all almost everything I've ever owned has been below a metric ton, so 2,200 pounds. I just like lightweight cars with apparently no safety features and any of that sort of stuff.
Who needs it? I mean, no safety features. There's a complete death trap at the end down there.
Yeah, and as you can see from that photograph as well, I took this photo shortly after it had boiled over and has left a little line of coolant on on the floor. So
Nice, nice.
yeah, the Caterhams are fantastic. I will probably own one of those at some stage.
Not too much of a thing over here. There's kits. There's certainly not very much in the way of originals or anything like that, but in the autocross world, they're somewhat common to do the kit versions of them, but certainly not. I feel like that's probably not something that people snap their neck to look at over there, but over here would be quite bizarre.
Yeah, and they're quite expensive as well, which I guess doesn't help.
Right.
But yeah, it's for autocross. It's going to be pretty OP to be honest.
They're also
That
very snappy, though. Every time I've ever seen one being driven, they're very fast, but they're also very ready to spin out.
Yeah, and they're so different from just any other road car, really. Like the steering's super quick, and they've got loads of grip. But being front engine and having quite skinny tires,
Yeah.
like they will understeer. So I guess you've got to drive them in a certain way, particularly on autocross.
Any other important cars in your automotive history, or do you do a lot of cycling through?
I mean, I've been driving since 2003, and I've only had 8 cars, I think. So not I don't change stuff too regularly. I've had two Miatas in the past, a couple of different small hot hatches, an old Beetle.
I've been
We're
driving
inside.
since 2004, and I've had 7 240s.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I don't change that much, to be honest.
But do you do a lot of eyeballing different cars for sale? Like that's kind of what inspired the show. Is
I do a lot of that.
yeah, the dreaming. Well, good. That means you'll be a good ad spotter. So you already said that you don't really think Ranwin Parked is a term over there. What kind of terms did you maybe find that were similar?
I went for there's a few. One of them is SORN, SORN, which is statutory off-road notification, which is basically what you do in the UK when you don't want to tax something and don't want to drive it.
So it's
Um,
like legally Ranwin Parked.
yeah, basically. So there's that, which I didn't actually use that term to find any of these, but yeah. So there's SORN, there's Project, obviously, which is pretty good, and Barn Find, which is obviously equally massively kind of overused here as it
Overused.
is.
At where you
So
intentionally like, oh, I didn't watch this for a week. I'm gonna leave it in the yard for a little while and then put it in the shed and be like, barn find.
yeah, well, one of the ones I found was it said what was it? One of the ones I didn't pick said something like open barn, and I was thinking, is that not just outside? It's not really a barn if it's not got a roof, is it? So, but yeah, I think the ones I eventually chose are they're suitable.
Alrighty, let's see what you got here for Ranwin Parked.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I know very little about these at all. I know
Those are the best
obviously,
ones.
yeah, Reliant obviously is the company most people know for the Robin, which is that daft little three-wheeler thing which you could drive on a motorcycle license in the UK until like 2001 or something. This is a much earlier predecessor of it, and so I know even less about these. But three wheels, completely ridiculous, and looking quite sorry for itself.
It's a great project, though.
Well, they say so.
Is it fiberglass? It looks very fiberglassy.
I think they are. I think it's one of these. It's like you've got a really basic kind of frame chassis sort of thing, and a fiberglass body on top. I mean, the Robin in the UK has the nickname the Plastic Pig,
Oh,
um, for exactly this. I think Reliant has always just made stuff like a lot of the small kind of UK car builders, just
oh yeah. I mean, it's
basic chassis and then
right.
plastic body.
The cost of making a fiberglass mold versus making, sheet metal forms is a big difference there. So if you're gonna make not many of something, fiberglass was and still kind of is the way to go.
Yeah.
I
So yeah,
love
here we've got
love
the
this wording.
description.
It's a unique
Unique opportunity.
opportunity. Gosh, that one has made its way over here as well.
Yeah, someone's got that on the bingo card, haven't they? What else have we got? Rare. I mean, rare's fair, I think, with this thing. I've
Sure.
not seen a great deal of them. Happy with any export inquiries. So if that'll probably interest somebody
Yeah.
somewhere, I
Bring
guess.
bring it on over. No
There's
logbook?
nothing.
What's a logbook
Uh,
mean?
that is, I guess, what you'd call a pink slip. So it's our V5. It's just the kind of the document that proves that you own it, I guess,
Oh,
which is
like a
always slightly
title.
dodgy. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Anything with no title just makes me very uninterested very quickly now.
yeah. But I mean, at least this is unlikely to have been stolen or something.
Well, you'd have to be a certain kind of person to steal something like this, that's for sure.
Yeah, a lunatic.
It's, yeah, you can definitely tell when you look closer that it's fiberglass and starting to deteriorate.
Yeah, I'm liking the windscreen, which looks like it should be the back window of something else.
It's the smallest window on the vehicle, which is hilarious.
Yeah, it's
Very
pretty narrow,
narrow.
isn't it?
Yeah. And then there's this little hatch for a hood.
Yeah, I mean, I think the engine is beneath that, so might be good for some kind of maintenance, I guess.
Took a nice wallop to the back quarter here.
Yeah, and seems to have had some attempt to repair in the past.
Oh, epoxy fixes everything.
Yeah,
Oh
if you use
my.
enough of it.
Jeez. Look at this. That, I guess it's a three-cylinder or a four-cylinder?
I think it's a four-cylinder. I think they actually made their own engines. So
Hmm.
really, I mean, maybe they didn't at this stage, but it's kind of, yeah, just a tiny little four-cylinder. And as you'll note, quite far back in the chassis to try and stop it being massively unstable.
Right, and it's there. It's next to your leg if you need to do a little carb tuning on the road.
Yeah, well, it does look like the kind of shroud for it is sitting further back here.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that fiberglass will protect you if anything goes wrong.
Yeah, I mean, even if it explodes, I doubt anything is going to be moving fast enough to cause any injury.
I like the somebody made an effort at some point because it's got like brand new shiny spark plugs in it, but there's not
Yeah,
even wires going to them. That's as
no,
far
it
as they
will
got.
need some assembly, I guess.
Nice wooden center dash there that is probably original, but probably not the original piece of wood.
It's probably quite easy to make your own, isn't it? I mean, you just take that as a template.
And go down to your local lumber store.
Yeah, or you could use carbon fiber. I don't know, something like that.
I think the floors are also plywood, just by looking at it.
Yeah, I'm not convinced they would support the weight of a seat.
Mm-mm. I always thought about that with bugs, though. Like anytime I've ever sat in a bug and I look at the floor and I go, that doesn't look like it would support a human, especially when the floors are a layer of rust covered in fiberglass, as they so often are.
Yeah. Well, I suppose in this it's not structural, is it? So it is all you need is just a basic flat thing to sit vaguely on top of.
Who needs it? Look at this
It's got
back
a back
seat.
seat though.
Yeah, that looks like very comfort, swankiness, and a spider web that is giving me flashbacks to cleaning my garage.
Yeah, I think there's probably a few things would need evicting from this before you did any work on it.
Look at the tiny, tiny drive shaft, but this giant U joint on it. It's
Well,
a,
you wouldn't want the massive torque snapping it, would you?
absolutely. Very interesting. Oh, yeah, there's the fourth cylinder hiding up there.
There's the rest of it.
Oof.
That air cleaner looks like it could do with changing.
It's on there, and that is impressive. How often we see vehicles that don't have the air cleaner on them. If it's carb rated and it's a project that's for sale, 9 times out of 10 it won't have an air cleaner on it.
Yeah. See, this was the first thing. This is basically the reason I picked this car because it reminded me of this instantly.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
The emblem is actually pretty close too. I remember seeing it on the front. Yeah, it's got these like
Yeah.
little wing, which I don't even know
and
if
the,
that's real or if that was something somebody
I
popped on there.
I genuinely don't know, and even the door handles as well, and like the general shape of it, like it's pretty close.
Definitely some inspiration there.
Like, put it in H was the first thing I thought
Kurt will appreciate that.
of.
All right, that's I'd say that's a worthy Ranwin Parkter. I wouldn't touch that project with a very long stick though.
Yeah, it's worthy for something, maybe not for sane human beings.
Well, that's none of us, so maybe I'm wrong there. Speaking of that, mistakes are a category that's kind of become my favorite part of it because that's kind of the general theme of how we got started. Is we were always looking for that next thing that we probably couldn't afford, shouldn't get, but just might if we were the right level of insane. So let's see what you've uncovered.
I think. I mean, I guess you guys have had some kind of XJ on the uh,
I'm
on
sh-
Ramon Park before.
I know we have, but I couldn't tell you if it was anything like this.
Well, this is a good example of how not a lot of money gets something which is pretty nice. But as you will see from the listing title, this has something slightly unusual about it.
Mm. Is that because it's a XJ40 manual?
Yeah, I guess manuals aren't too common in these. I know they did them, but and I certainly don't know if the US got the manual version, but we certainly did over a couple
Very
of
rare.
generations.
Very rare to see Jags at all that are manual over here.
Yeah, and this one is pleasingly low spec because it's also got cloth seats, which I is one of my is one of the hills I will die on.
I gotta write down all of these lingo terms. Pleasingly low spec.
Poverty spec, we like to call it.
Poverty spec. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not really a thing that has been a trend over here lately. It was in the 90s. Like
Mm.
there was a time when you could buy a very minimally spec'd car. And those days seem to be over, where even if you buy the base model of the cheapest economy car on the lot now, it's going to have power windows. It's going to have leather seats. It's going to have, cruise control and, automatic climate control and lane assist and all this stuff. It seems like the days of the stripper car kind of over with. And nobody really seems to care. It doesn't seem to be a problem
Nah,
to people.
it's a shame. Oh yeah, well maybe it's not a shame. Maybe cars are genuinely better now that they have equipment. But I love the idea that in 1989 somebody went into a Jaguar
Yeah,
dealership and was like, "No, no, no,
right.
I won't be having any of your equipment. I will be driving out in the absolute base model with cloth seats and manual gearbox and all that sort of stuff."
Which, to be fair, if you were going to get a Jag and you wanted to remove as much electronics from it as possible, you might be more sane than others.
Yeah, that is a good point. I mean, yeah, fewer things to go wrong, I suppose.
So this
It
is
seems
looks
quite
like a
nice.
I don't know, like a BMW saloon kind of competitor.
Yeah, so like I suppose always pitched at the 7 series. We kind of like 5 series and 7 series, somewhere between there, I think.
It's a nice shape. I don't know that I recognize this front end from anyone that we got over here, but it might just be that they're uncommon.
Yeah, I think that's probably it. Like
Oh,
the generation after this went to the slightly curvier front end with the like little bumps in the bonnet over the headlights and all that sort of thing. There's still a surprising number of this shape around in the UK.
hmm. Someone snapped the Jag off though, which I imagine was a real problem for cars like this. Either
I
people
I don't know,
stealing
like
them
because
or
this, yeah, I mean, I don't know if that would have had. Again, it's one of those things that people, unfortunately, they do with like X types and S types and all that sort of stuff as well as put the leaper back on,
mm.
and it always looks bloody awful. Um, so I kind of don't mind when Jags don't have that on the hood.
The back's got a slope to it. Like it's like it just kind of trails off into nowhere.
Yeah, it's like all the designer's pen slipped.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, you're right.
But
For that amount of money, this is a lot of car. For one, like size wise, it's a rear wheel drive manual sedan. Interior's
yeah, like a
in nice shape.
3 liter straight six or something in these.
Yeah, this is not something you would find over here for this money. Not you would probably find it either way, but certainly not in
Yeah,
this shape. Oh yeah,
but
it's very
yeah, I
well
mean,
taken care
I
of.
to be honest, in a Jag, I don't think I would go for a manual, but seeing this one appear,
It would be interesting. Wow, I'm surprised to see it's a plastic injected manifold.
yeah,
What year is this?
89 this particular one, I think.
Oh, that's pretty early for a plastic intake manifold.
Yeah, high tech stuff from Jaguar in the
Hmm.
80s, I guess.
Oh man, look at these. Look at
Yeah,
these dome lights on the headrests.
illuminate your knees.
Your favorite YouTuber would just go nuts over that, wouldn't he?
Oh God, yeah. He'd spend the entire video talking about them, wouldn't he?
Just sitting there with the button on, off, on, off. And there's not one in the headliner. There's only the
Yeah, but
ones in the.
you get twice as many for the headrest ones.
It's true. It's true. I've always liked me a wood wheel.
Yeah, it kind of suits it. This because it's obviously an aftermarket one, but it doesn't look too out of place. I don't think.
Yeah, it matches the rest of the wood inside of it.
Wood in inverted commas.
Yeah, well, do you really want real wood in your car anyway? That's always been my question. It's nice. I'm not a big car person, and frankly, you don't seem like a big car person either. But it does seem like a nice cruiser, like long drive kind of car.
Yeah, I think so. I think yeah, I'm not a big car person, but the more small, slightly tinny cars that I buy, the more the idea of a big car appeals. Which is, I think, why my eBay watch list is full of like Jags and Lexuses and BMWs at the moment.
He's being converted.
Oh, and I like this as well on the description. eBay's little kind of wall of shame at the bottom. People were also interested in, and it's a load of other really inadvisable purchases.
Right. I noticed that eBay seems to be a little bit more popular for your car ads. Like here, they don't do that kind of stuff where it's just an ad. It has to be an auction style thing or a buy it now style thing.
Yeah, yeah. There's quite a lot. It seems it's probably one of the main places to kind of find cars now, I guess.
Yeah, I've found a handful of stuff for the show on there, but it's very hard to sort through. Like I've browsed eBay UK and it's set up completely different and much better, much easier to use. For some reason they haven't decided to take into that market here.
Yeah, I've noticed that when browsing the US version, like it's much more difficult to find just random cool stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of just chaos and then companies that try to exploit it and then ruin the results for everything else.
Yeah, dealers with like 800 photos.
Yeah. All right, and the last category that I ask for you to find is the mild finds, because your mild might just be wild for us.
Yeah, I think it's pretty mild by any metric. This one,
That's not mild.
it's kind of mild.
That's not mild.
It's. I think
My heart rate went up when I saw it.
that's because it looks like the front half is identical to a Brat.
I mean, the front half is a Brat, and it's round headlight, and it's got the four headlights.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this is what a Brat would be like if it was a proper car.
I don't like the way you worded that, but it is very brown.
It's very brown indeed, yeah. It also seems kind of expensive. I know it's like this must be super rare. I can't imagine there are many in the UK. Yeah, I mean, it seems it.
2,500? No.
Yeah, but it's also a bit of a shed. So
Four-door
the
saloon
the text is fantastic. I do like this. I have for sale Great Subaru Custom Project.
project.
Yeah. See, it does say the only one in the UK, so I can sort of see where the price is coming from. Twin headlights or four headlights if you like, two on each side. It's
Now,
start and drive.
is it possible to know that? Like, can you actually determine whether this is the only one there?
Yes, kind of. There's a website called How Many Left, and
Ah.
I think it basically skims registration data. So, and it will tell you how many are registered and how many are sawn, which is I mentioned before. So it'll tell you how many are on the road and how many basically are off the road.
Boy, I would love something like that over here, because there's really no information, unless, like, some people with enthusiast attitudes toward cars, they try to track them, like, how many of this car are remaining, register your VIN, but there's no way to
Yeah.
actually look that up, because that would be really fascinating to know.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, as far as I'm aware, it's not super accurate, but it kind of gives you an idea of everything. Because, I mean, the trouble is, I guess it happens in the States as well, but people don't always, when they're registering stuff, it's not always given the right name. So some stuff can appear in different categories and everything gets a bit weird. But for something this obscure, I guess it's probably close to being the only one in the UK.
I like the smoke cloud. I guess it runs.
Yeah, yeah, it's Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, but mildly so, I would say.
It is a mild car. I will give you that. And I don't know about this one, but I think these are all front wheel drive too. I don't think you could get an all wheel drive sedan.
I'm really not sure because this is so weird that know very little about it other than the kind of vague relationship to a brat.
Kurt had a coupe on the show very early on. It was a GL coupe. And I had no idea that those existed. Like, I never would have dreamed that there was a coupe version of a brat, basically. But it was the same thing where the coupe was only available as a front wheel drive version. There was no all wheel drive or 4-wheel drive version, and I don't see the twin sticks in this, so I presume this is the
Yeah.
same. But
Yeah,
it's
I
still pretty neat.
guess I mean, the thing is as well about kind of pre mid 90s Japanese stuff in the UK is it's all pretty rare because there were import quotas until about that time. So once and people would basically import the importers themselves would bring in the stuff that was most likely to sell. So anything even slightly offbeat just wouldn't be brought into the country. So like we had Nissans and Datsuns in the 70s, but 510s just absolutely nothing because I don't know the quota was so low that Bluebirds and 510s just never came in, so they are super expensive over here when they appear, and even stuff like old 1980s Hondas and stuff not very common at all. If they haven't rusted, they were even bought in the first place.
I do have to bring up the fact that you've also found an ad that included one of your weird ramp trucks.
Yeah, one of the kind of van-based ones.
Yeah, I get people sending me these all the time, and they're like, "We have ramp trucks all over the place," and I'm like, "It's not the same. You don't understand."
I will concede they're not as cool as the ones that you have.
But it is interesting that they still seem to be in service over there, versus here, ramp trucks have pretty much gone away. Tiltbacks are the thing to have here, but I think that's because we have so much room, so much space. Like a rollback is huge. It's a big truck that to roll it back, you have to take a ton of space lengthwise, and I don't think you
Yeah.
have that much room there to do things like that.
No, and I suppose the cars themselves are probably smaller, so you're not having
True.
to pick up kind of
Yeah.
massive
You don't have to get Karen's
350s and
excursion.
stuff, and yeah,
There's a couple of them there. Actually, this whole yard looks like somebody that is keen to make a mistake. There's a
yeah. We've got a 2CV and like some, I guess, bug-based kit
dune
car
buggy,
there, and then there's some Volvo in the background of one of the
yeah,
other shots, I think.
Volvo, and then the greatest mistake of all back there.
The daily driver,
And
the one that works.
yeah, this might be like the UK version of ZK here, just judging by the yard.
Yeah,
I'll let you be off the hook on it being mild, just because it is, for most people, a very boring looking car too. Like there's nothing performance about it. This was as far as Subaru was concerned, this was like basic car. Like, okay, make a car. Okay, we made a car. Here you go.
Yeah. This was their Corolla. I
Yeah.
kind of forgot that. Yeah, but I kind of interpret this as being mild, but I forgot each of you three would have a heart attack over something like this. So
Exactly. Yeah, we're just a little messed in the head. I mean, the problem is this stuff rusts so bad over here that even if it was over here, it's getting absolutely impossible to find them.
yeah. Well, if you need me to pick it up and put it on a boat,
I probably can't afford the shipping, so if you could just put it on a boat and give it a good shove, maybe someday it'll make its way here. Only the rubber parts will make their way here, though. The salt water will take care of the rest.
yeah, you might get the grill out of
That's what I really want, to be honest.
it.
If I could find one of these and just lop the nose off of it to put on a brat, I'd be set. All right. There is our tour of UK ads, and not dramatically different, but certainly the pricing scale has been the most interesting thing that I wasn't prepared for. I wasn't prepared for your ability to find cheap things, basically.
Yeah, everything's pretty affordable, unless it has certain badges, and then it's ridiculously expensive. But I think that's the same anyway.
Yeah, there's a bit of that happening over here, but I don't know, is the nostalgia kick happening over there where it seems like these random cars that nobody cared about are suddenly expensive?
Yeah, although it's for stuff completely different stuff, I guess. Because for in the UK, the weird nostalgia kick is mainly for Fords and Vauxhalls, and obviously Fords of the sort that you never really got over there.
Hmm.
So because they were the you know Ford and Vauxhall by far have the most sales of anything in the UK and always have done. So those are the cars that people remember from when they were growing up, and so anything vaguely sporty, but even stuff that isn't that sporty can be pretty expensive.
Yeah, that seems to be the way it's going pretty much everywhere. Is just like it happened for the previous generations before us. It wasn't so much about whether the cars were good or not. It's just the cars you remember from when you were younger. So
Yeah.
all those cars that, as we were kids, were like, these will never be anything to anybody, are suddenly something to somebody, and it's kind of fun to watch that happen.
Yeah, and also frustrating if one of the cars happens to be something you really wanted and is now massively expensive.
That is very true. All right, well, I've gone on much longer than I expected, as I always do. But thank you for joining, and thanks for doing some car spotting for us. Perhaps we'll have you on again because I'm sure there's plenty more to be had over there.
Oh, yes. Yeah, thank you.
All right, and good luck in pursuing your futures in automotive journalism. And when you make it big and one of those companies happens to produce videos, remember us.
I'm sure I will. You'll all be guests on my incredibly successful show.
I look forward to it. All right.